Alright then, so hey, what is up guys, it's Pohdoh here, and in this video I'm going to be giving the voice of reason, and I'm going to be trying my best to interpret all the chaos that is going on behind the stream, and why people, currently the community is torn into two groups. A group that is saying Modern Combat 5 is going to be awesome, Modern Combat 5 is going to be, amazing, blindly. They don't really have a particularly good reasoning besides the developer's intent, which do not really amount too much if you think about it. A lot of games had good developers, but they never turned out to be that great. One example is World of Warcraft. You may be saying, oh, that's a great game, Pohdoh, but the developers, they always cared about the game. They tried their best to improve, but regardless of all their efforts, the amount of subscribers in World of Warcraft is going down every single year. It's not their developers' fault. They want the game to be good, and they made good decisions. It was just inevitable, and it shows that the intent of the developers does not always mean a good, really good game. So I think a lot of people do not keep that in mind. And then the other group of people are people that, strongly dislike the game because it wasn't what they were looking for. And I'm just here to give my interpretation of why there is that group of people that just, that really don't like Modern Combat 5 the way it's looking right now. The two groups are currently at war with each other. They're both flaming, bashing each other, which I think is really stupid, since, both sides, no one's actually really played the game yet besides the developers and a few beta testers. So there really isn't that much point over arguing over a game that, technically isn't even finished yet. If you think about it, developers still can change it if they really see, because at least they seem really open about the game. I really dislike developers that are really stubborn, and it looks like these developers are really open about it, so, I guess that's a plus. But, let me give, for all the people who are wondering why people are hating on the game so much right now, I'll give my reasoning behind it, because their complaints are well grounded at the same time. It is not there for no reason. If people hate on the game, 99% of the time, there's usually a very good reason why. And the reason why is because of two things: the appearance of the game and the speed of the game. And you may be thinking, oh, Pohdoh, what's wrong with both of them? First, the graphics. The graphics aren't bad, but it's not that the graphics are bad, but it's that people were looking for an improvement. The jump from Modern Combat 2 to Modern Combat 3, graphics-wise, was massive. You couldn't even tell they were from the same series. The jump from Modern Combat 3 to Modern Combat 4 was nothing. It was just some ragdoll effects and new animations, but it was essentially the same graphics. And that is the reason why people expected a big jump in graphics, from Modern Combat 4 to Modern Combat 5, especially with all this information that was being released by Gameloft, all this hype, about new software, new hardware, new lightings, new animations. People were expecting a completely different game. People were expecting a huge jump in graphics. And when they actually saw the gameplay and saw it was very similar to Modern Combat 4, they're rightly so very angry. And the fact that the game has been delayed many times and has pretty much came out almost a year late doesn't really help at all, because people's expectations are through the roof about this game. There's a lot of hype behind it in the community, and it's not that the game is bad, it's that it's not living up to the hype for a lot of people. Another reason is that the game looks slow, and some people, maybe, especially the people who grew up in Modern Combat 4, may not think it, but I think about like a third of the people in the community has played Modern Combat 3 at one point, and do agree that Modern Combat 3 was the best Modern Combat of all time, me included. And the fact that Modern Combat 5 didn't really improve the speed of the really slow Modern Combat 4. The Modern Combat 4 wasn't slow, but it was very slow compared to Modern Combat 2 and Modern Combat 3. And it's not that a slow game is bad, it's that the community was looking for a faster game. That was a very big problem with Modern Combat 4. It was a slow-paced game. There wasn't that much action, and if there was action, it was very boring action. If you get my drift, a lot of it was just staying in one location, putting down the iron sights, moving, camping, moving by really slowly. That kind of stuff we're not looking for. Especially on the mobile side, people are looking for a much fast-paced, much faster, and very arcade-like game. And when they saw Modern Combat 5 on the stream today, they didn't see that. it wasn't their expectation. It wasn't that the game is gonna be bad, it's that it wasn't what people were expecting. And even if we do end up liking it over time, it's gonna take us at least a few months to really get used to it, and it's gonna take, you know, a while for the community to really, you know, accept that this is the way that Modern Combat is gonna be. This is a new direction of Modern Combat, and you know, dwelling on the past, like, you know, Modern Combat 2 and Modern Combat 3, they're, you know, it's pretty much futile, because, you know, those were games that were released like 3 to 4 years ago. I mean, those games have long gone. You know, the style of those games, you know, and for the most part, those are just brilliant experiments. If anything, they didn't really plan out the games, you know. On paper, they would have been pretty bad games, if you ask me. It's just that the combination of certain perks and the combination of certain maps and mechanics of the game made it the, you know, masterpieces they are today. It wasn't really planned on their part, so it's kind of unrealistic to expect them to, you know, to recreate something that happened almost by accident. I mean, Athlete Elite and Armor Elite, those were the two most broken perks ever, but broken, you know, perks of all time in, you know, in any FPS game. But at the same time, ironically, the two most broken perks created one of the most balanced games of all time. And it's really strange how things work, and you know, it's kind of unrealistic for people to expect the developers, you know, in such a planned out, coordinated game to repeat this kind of, you know, miraculous accident. So that being said, I'm not saying that, you know, the people who hate on the game have no good reason to do so. They definitely have a very good reason to do so, you know, especially since the game, like I said, has been delayed countless number of times and is pretty much being released almost a year late. I mean, you know, we heard about the game last fall, for God's sake, and then it was supposed to come out, you know, come out this winter, and then it got delayed to like this, you know, and people were talking about it coming out this spring, and then it come out this spring, and now it's coming out this in the mid-summer, not even the beginning summer, but the mid-summer. So people are, you know, anxious, and some people are actually very impatient, and they have the right to be so, because this is a much longer delay than any other Modern Combat game so far. And it's also been far more advertisement than any other Modern Combat game in the past. So people are hyped, and when people are hyped, their expectations are really high, and the expectations of Modern Combat community is a fast-paced game with really good graphics. The Modern Combat 5 stream did not deliver that. It may not be a bad thing, but at the same time, it's not what we as a community were expecting. So hopefully this all works out at the end. Hopefully, you know, all the arguments simmer down. But, you know, don't be so, don't be so rash to choose a side. Don't be the person that say, oh, this is the greatest game of all time, and at the same time, don't be the person that says, oh, this game will suck, because you never played the game before. I mean, we only see one stream of multiplayer, you know, by pretty bad players. I mean, if you want to be frank, we have no clue how it's gonna work out. You know, if all of us, all the competitive side of people, all the casual side of people were suddenly put together in the mix when the game actually comes out, we have no idea what's gonna happen. You know, there could be a completely new killer, you know, talent spec, or completely new, you know, amazing weapon that, you know, changes the game forever, or there could be a completely new mechanic of the game, you know, that makes it, you know, from a really slow game to a really fast game. We don't know yet. But first impressions, you know, wise, I also got the same impression. I also got the same idea that a lot of people got, which is that it's a slow game without much graphical improvement. And even if they make it up in other areas, people weren't really looking for improvement in other areas. You know, the other parts of Modern Combat 4 wasn't particularly flawed. So anyways, that's my take on all this debate on the internet right now. You know, like I said, it's really stupid. I mean, if you're gonna be this heated over, you know, one thing, so don't blindly support or don't blindly criticize the game if you don't really know much about it. You know, at the very best, you can be like me and just have, you know, just say that you don't know if you're right or not, and say that, you know, everything is just a first impression video. It's not, you know, true. So anyways, this is Pohdoh, rate, comment, subscribe. Tell me guys what you think about the game. Tell me guys, you know, if you think these arguments against Modern Combat 5 are well grounded. Because I do think this game has a lot of potential, but it's too early to tell ultimately. So, this is Pohdoh, rate, comment, subscribe, and I'll see you guys later. Bye.